Let's go to Ephesians 5. We're going to look at verses 28 through 29. Ephesians, the 5th chapter. And we're going to look at verses 28 through 29. I'll get there. Go ahead and give him verse 28.
So ought men to love their wives as their own body. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever hated his own flesh, but nourished it and cherished it, even as the Lord the church.
Okay, now, go back to that verse 28 again.
So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies.
As their own bodies. This is the problem that we have when it comes to men. Because most men, let me put it this way, a lot of our men value themselves based on the way another woman values them. If they're not really popular, if they don't consider themselves popular amongst women and amongst the other men in the community, a lot of men devalue the way they look at themselves. And so because they devalue the way they look at themselves, they would devalue their woman. But you ought to love the woman in the manner that you love yourself. And the only way you're going to be able to love yourself truly is if you receive the love of Christ. And this is the problem. The love goes down as a tunnel. It starts with the Most High, and it comes to Christ, and it comes to us, and it spreads out to the wife, and it spreads to the children, and it spreads out. But see, this is the problem. When the man is not submitted to the Most High, then he is missing the love that he needs, and it's going to prevent him and be a wall that he can enable to give the love to the wife. Because that verse tells us again, he says, what he ought to love the wife as how?
As their own bodies.
As their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. So that means when I see you out there with your wife and you ain't holding the door for her, when I see you, when your wife got to take her own trash out, when I see the wife got to cut her own grass and clean her own car, when she got to do everything for herself, when the mother of your children got to do everything for herself, that means that you don't love yourself. That's what that tells me. If the mother of your children is cutting her own grass, you don't love yourself. If the mother of your children has got to go out there to have sex with another man to have gas for her car, you don't love yourself. That's just the way it is. Verse 29.
For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourished it and cherished it.
See, so that means that he's not gonna not go and feed his own self when he's hungry. He's not gonna do the hygienic things that he needs for his own self. He's not gonna take medicine when he's hurting. He's not gonna put himself in harm's way to be hurt. So if he won't do that stuff for himself, then he should never do those things to his woman. And what's the last part of that verse is?
Even as the Lord the church.
Even as the Lord does the church. So this is the measurement. This is the way that we have to do when it comes to treating our wives. As Christ loved the church. Christ never abused the church. Christ never manipulated the church. Took advantage of the church. Used the church just to get his own gain and make his own self feel good. If Christ never did these things to the church, then you should never do that to the mother of your children. Amen? All right, now, go over one chapter to chapter 6. We're going to look at verses 1 through 3. Now, before we get into this, I want to address this because some of you, unfortunately, may not have had good moms. Okay? You rarely have mothers doing on a large scale the way men do. You know, men are birth a child and you'll never see them again. You know, they come around every now and then or whatever the case may be. But you don't really have women doing that. You don't really have too many deadbeat women who are just that are not around, none factor. But you do have some women who may have not have done everything that they needed to do right by their children. But that does not mean that they should not be honored and treated in the way that they're supposed to because they are your moms. And I know many of you out there today, this is a difficult time for you. Especially for some of you who mothers has went on and you didn't get a chance to reconcile that. Some of your mothers have went on, but you had a wonderful relationship with her, so even though it may be a little tough, you can think about the great times. But some of you didn't never reconcile with your mom. Some of you didn't ever get forgiveness, and some of you didn't ever forgive her. And now she's gone, and now your life is full of regret. Because the only thing you're saying is, if only if I would have. If maybe this would have happened. Some of you will still have your mother here with you in the earth realm. And you're mad and you're upset. And this is a rough time for you. You refuse to go home. You refuse to call. You refuse to send a call. You refuse to go to church with her. You refuse to take her to dinner because of all the wrong things she did to you. So I want to encourage you with this today. Look at Ephesians 6, verse 1.
Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
For this is right. Now, this means that when you have mothers that are telling you what you need to do, you must obey them. Even in situations where it kind of be like, oh, I don't know. When you're as a child, you got to obey them. This is because it is right. You don't have a choice in this when it comes to obeying, right? But honor is going to be up to you. And look at verse 2.
Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise.
Notice here that this is a commandment. And it comes with a promise. It is the only commandment out of the 10 commandments that actually comes with a promise. If you honor your mother and father, what is the promise? Verse 3.
That it may be well with thee, and thou may livest a long life on earth.
That's the promise. So they didn't say that you would live a long life on earth and it go well with you if your mother do right by you. It didn't say that you would live a long life and do well on earth if your mom was there for you at every event. It didn't say you would live well and have a long life if your mother was always there for you when you needed it. No, it didn't say that. It says it will go well with you and you will have a long life if you honor your mother and your father. So regardless of the situations that may have happened as you were a child, I know some of you may be dealing with some situations that maybe happened last week, which your mom might have did something wrong to you. But if you want things to go well with you, if you want to have a long, prosperous life, regardless of the matter of what they did to you, you're still going to have to honor them. You're still going to have to treat them in a manner in which they deserve as simply being your mother. A lot of these kids out here, a lot of these teenagers and young adults who are losing their lives because they never honored their mother. Because if they had honor for their mother, they wouldn't be in some of the places that they were. They wouldn't have done some of the things that they did. They wouldn't have been involved in certain things. They would have walked away from certain things. There is no way they would have done those things. And because they're doing those things, it's cutting their life short. So if you want to have a long life, if you want to have a prosperous life, you want things to go well for you, take this Mother's Day, take this opportunity to go and forgive your mom. If you've done her wrong, take this opportunity to go ask for forgiveness. And if you don't think this is important, I'm just going to give you this precept. I'm not going to go to it. This is a precept for you. Look at Mark 11 chapter, verse 22 through 26. You take a chance, you take a look at that. And that right there should be all the conviction that you need to honor your mother and your father. So those are the foundation precepts that we wanted to give before we actually get into the lesson. Now, if you just joined us today, today's lesson is overlooked by the world, but not by the Most High. Go with me in your Bibles to Luke, the 21st chapter. And this is time now we're talking to the mothers now. So like I said before, if any one of you that are on with us right now, and you got some single moms on your friends list, your sisters are single moms, your cousins are single moms, maybe even encouragement to your moms, make sure you invite them onto this live feed right now because we want to speak life into them. Make sure you share this video with them. Make sure you bring them in tomorrow or something and sit down and watch this video together. Maybe some of you don't belong to a church or something and you just want to do something together. Bring in your mom, bring in your sisters and your cousins and sit them down and watch this video with them. And so give them something that's going to encourage them, that's going to empower them, that's going to speak life into their situations, okay? Overlooked by the world, but not by the Most High. Luke, the 21st chapter, we're going to look at verses 1 through 4 there. Just give us a read of that, Jay, then we're going to go back.
And he looked up and saw the rich man casting the gifts into the treasury. And he saw a certain poor widow casting in thither 2 mites. And he said, O truth, I say unto you, this poor widow has cast in more than they all. For all these have their abundance cast into the offerings of God, but she of her penury hath cast in all the living that she had.
Now, overlooked by the world, but not by the Most High. You know, unfortunately, it seems that society has moved away from celebrating good women. I mean, this is really what we're dealing with on a daily basis. When you turn on your television, when you listen to the average rap music, hip-hop music, even when you listen to the R&B songs now, so-called R&B songs, you don't really have R&B no more. Good women are no longer being celebrated like they were at once upon a time. You don't hear no My Girl, no Temptations My Girl no more. You don't hear that. You hear Jump Off now. You don't hear that's not being celebrated no more. The good women, unfortunately, are no longer being celebrated in our society. What saddens me even more is because of the lack of celebratory things that are happening for our good women. It is leading to a devalue of women losing good values. Now women don't have good values no more. You know, it's like it's almost a deterioration of the values. Like, it was almost like when it came to things when you was growing up as a child, you didn't look to your father for the values. You looked to your mom. Your mom was the one who gave you the manners. Your mom was the one who gave you, how to talk right and treat people right. The yes sir, yes ma'am, no sir. She was the one who gave you, how to treat your girlfriend, and she gave you the daughter tips on how to wait and be respected by her boyfriend. The mother was the one doing it. Now, things done switched up a little bit, unfortunately. We don't really see that as much as we would like. The things that women would only do behind closed doors and only would do with a man that was committed to them, now they do these things openly. They will go live and just put it all out there. And they would do it with any willing participant. Right? Isn't this what we see? There was a time when the way the world knew a woman's business is that she was betrayed by some so-called friend. Nowadays, our women are posting all of their business on social media. You had no idea. You could work with a woman for 5 years and you wouldn't know anything about her life because she wouldn't have been broadcasting her stuff like that. Nowadays, the women purposely put it out on social media. Let everything be known. Nobody has to go into their cookie jar. They put it all out there. Right? Back in the day, most of our girls, when it came to sex, showing their bodies, most of the girls grew up in church. You weren't even having that. This whole idea of seeing women, their bodies and stuff like that, you wasn't even having that. Most women there's not a consideration. Okay, having sex, no. You had to be, this went from women in the church and outside the church. You had to be in committed relationships. You had to be walking with them for years. I mean, for long periods of time. For anything like that happen. Nowadays, if you want to see a woman's body, and see the things of her, all you got to do now is just be friends with her on social media. Never even have a conversation with her, and you can see everything. And so we're asking ourselves, how has this come about? How are we seeing this now? Where women used to be so protective of themselves and so together, so unwilling to compromise when the things that will make them look bad. How are we seeing that this has went completely opposite of that? Well,